2.4 More on slope preparation. Example, the table lists average annual costs Y in dollars of tuition and fees for in-state students at public four-year colleges and universities for selected years, where X equals 1 represents 2001, X equals 3 represents 2003, and so on. Plot the data and write an equation that approximates it. Use the equation found in part to determine the cost of tuition and fees in 2013. Okay, so let's do some plotting. All right, so we have 1 and 3,735. So it's almost about 3/4 of the way to 4,000, so I plot a point. Then we have 3, 4,587, so 3, 4,587, so a little bit more than half, maybe right about there or so. Then we have 5, 5,351, 5,351, out there, so I think. Whoops, about here, I think. And then we have number 7, which is 5,943, which is almost 6, but not quite. And then we have 9, 6,717, 17. So it's about 3/4, a little bit more maybe. And then we have 11, 7,313, 7,313, so a little bit less than a third, not quite. And then we have 13, 8,312. All right, so we scroll down. So we want to write an equation. This whole thing should be up here. This is kind of a formatting error. It should be up there. So we're going to use the points 5, 3,351, and 11, 7,313 to write an equation that approximates the data. So if I want to write a linear equation, I'm going to use the point slope formula of y minus y1 is equal to m multiplied by x minus x1. Let's go back to black. Okay. Now in this case, we could label this as point 1, and this is x1, and this is y1, and this would be point 2, and this would be x2, and this would be y2. And we will use the slope formula of m is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, so we say y2 is 7,313. Put that in parentheses. We would say the y1 is equal to 5,351. You can't read that very well, that's my bad. And then x2 we would say is 11. And then we would say x1 is 5. We would say 7,313 minus 5,351 is 1,962. And 11 minus 5 is 6. Then we would say 1,962 divided by 6 is 327. Okay, so now we have our slope. Okay, so now we have y is equal to y1. y1 in this case is 5,351 equals m, which is 327, multiplied by x minus x1, x1 being 5. All right, then we rewrite the left side. We say 527 times x is 527x. Then we say 327 times 5. We would say that's negative, because you're multiplying 327 times negative 5, is negative 1,635. And, okay, so at this point we want to get the y by itself. So if you undo the subtraction of 5,351 by adding 5,351, and whatever I do to one side, I do to the other. These cancel out. That leaves me y is equal to this. So negative 1,635 plus 5,351, 327x plus 3,716. There we go. So now we have the equation. So they're saying that use the equation to determine the cost of tuition and fees in 2009. We know that 2009 means x is equal to 9. How well does the equation approximate the 2009 data from the table? So we have our equation of y is equal to 327 x plus 3,716. Then we know x is equal to 9. So then we add the 3,716. And then we know y is equal to 327 times 9, which would give you 2,943. And you add 3,716. And 2,943 plus 3,716 is 6,659. 2.4, more on slope. Example, use the given conditions to write an equation for the line in point slope form and in slope-intercept form. Okay, so if we want to write a linear equation in point slope form, okay, so the formula for that point slope form is y minus y1 is equal to m multiplied by x minus x1. And they say they want you to put in slope-intercept form. And slope-intercept form is y is equal to mx plus b. Now, first we're going to plug everything into the point slope form. So we need the y value and the x value of the point, and we need the slope, which point slope form, right? Now, in this case right here, they give us the point, and they give us an equation, and they say it is parallel to this equation. Now, if you remember parallel, right, parallel, that basically means that the slope is equal, okay? So they gave us a point, so we can say this is point 1, and this is x1, and this is y1. And now that we know it's parallel to this other equation, we know that means the slope is equal to, and we look at this right here, and we say, well, the slope is -4. So now we have a slope, and we have a point, and that gives us x1 and y1. Okay, cool. So we plug everything in. So we say y minus y1. y1 is -7. We say m, except instead of writing m, I put -4. Then we say x minus x1, and x is -9. Be careful with your signs. So we say y minus -7, which is the same as y plus 7. We say x minus -9, which is the same as x plus 9. Then we want to solve for this y. So we plugged everything in. So we've actually done the first part of this. Write it in point slope form. But what we haven't done yet is we haven't put it in slope-intercept form. And to do that, we need to solve for y. So first we are going to distribute here and here. So it gives me y plus 7 is equal to -4 times x, or -4x. And -4 times +9, which is -36. Then we will subtract 7, cancel, cancel. Y is equal to -4x. And -36 minus 7 is -43. And there we go. So we have it in both forms. Oops. Like that. Okay, let's try the next one. Passing through 9, -5, and perpendicular to the line whose equation is y is equal to 1/3 x plus 5. Okay, so we have a point, which means we have x1 and we have y1. And we have an equation, but now it's perpendicular. Now what that means is if we multiply the slopes together, we should get a -1 if they're perpendicular. Or to put it another way, this is a negative reciprocal. So if we count this as m1, the first one, right, so we know that's 1/3, but that's not going to be the slope of what we're looking for. Our slope is going to be a negative reciprocal of that. So the negative reciprocal of 1/3, a reciprocal means you flip the numerator and denominator, right, which should give me 3/1, and which is just 3. But this is a negative reciprocal, so it's going to be a -3/1, or just -3. Okay, or we can solve for m2 here by dividing both sides by m1. I don't recommend this, but it does work. And that would mean m2 is equal to -1 over m1, which is just another way of writing basically the negative reciprocal, right? Okay. So we know the slope on this is the -1/3, and we have a point. Okay, so we're going to plug it into our point slope form, right? Y minus y1 is equal to m multiplied by x minus x1. Okay, so y minus y1 being -5, is equal to m being -3, multiplied by x minus x1 being 9. Okay, so now we have y minus negative 5, which is y plus 5. We keep the negative 3 multiplied by x minus 9. Then we say y plus 5 is equal to, now we say negative 3 times x is negative 3x, because we are distributing. We say negative 3 times negative 9 is plus 27. Then we say minus 5, cancel, cancel, and that gives me y is equal to negative 3x. 27 minus 5 is 22. Okay, so we answered both parts, right? So we had our point slope form there, and we have our slope intercept form right here.